had another sheet that was listed all those projects that we've been funded on. But I don't have that with me. I was just going to say.
I got in Shipley's book. No?
Don't believe it for a minute.
Our friend's not here yet.
Almost. A couple minutes, too.
Give another minute or two here before we start.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to call this May 6th meeting of the Cookeville City Council to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Anderson,
Present.
Councilman Shelton,
Here.
Mayor Salee,
Present?
Vice Mayor Davis,
Present.
Councilman Williams,
Present.
all present.
All right, if we could all rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Shipley, do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight?
No changes.
Seeing no changes, do we have a motion and a second to approve?
So move.
Second.
Have our motion to second. Any discussion by the council? Seeing no discussion, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Brings us to our old business portion of the meeting. We have two items. Item 2, consider approval of minutes, council meeting held on April the 15th, 2010. Do we have a motion and a second to approve?
So move.
Second.
We have our motion and second. Any discussion by the council on those minutes? Any comments from the audience? Seeing no comments, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Item 3, consider on second and final reading ordinance 0100302, rezoning 1629 McCulley Road and 1628 Springboro Road from RS20 Single Family Residential to RS10 Single Family Residential. Sponsor, Mr. James Mills.
Mayor, council members, the property proposed for rezoning is depicted upon the screen. As you stated, this is second reading. The proposed rezoning has been approved by the Planning Commission and is recommended by the Planning Department.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mills. Do we have a motion to approve on second reading?
Move approval.
We have our motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have our motion or second. Do we have any discussion by the council?
I would like to say that this is, as a representative of the Planning Commission, council's representative of the Planning Commission, I've really studied this quite a bit. Matter of fact, after our last meeting, I have contacted some of the individuals that are in this room, some that are not here, as it relates to this zoning type. have worked diligently to try to find a way that I think would be better for all residents, those wanting, and the developer. And it's been very challenging to do so. I appreciate the communication I've had with a lot of the individuals out there. There was a hope that that there was a means or method by which we could find a better way, I guess there is, to rezone this property that would be more acceptable to a larger number of the residents out there, to help alleviate some of their concerns. And through that process, I was able to communicate some individuals about some things that were maybe miscommunicated or misunderstood. And so for that, I'm grateful for the time. But as I've done that, I find that after all this effort, the last couple of weeks, there's been no ability for us to come up with a solution that works. And so I go back to our original thought as a planning commission member and a city councilman. We looked at this property as far as its rezoning was concerned, and I think we even alluded to the fact last time, in the last meeting, there may be a possibility that we could do some cost sharing and with developer in order to try to provide services at an earlier date to citizens out there. And those are still viable options, I think we as a city and Public Works and Water and Sewer Department should look into. But based upon the legalities of how things go on, it's my understanding that we can't do any changes from first reading to second. And I'm really I go back now to where we were before and how I guess we got here two or three weeks ago. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, this issue was before us, and the Planning Commission looked at it, and there's a real unified voice from the Planning Commission as we've studied this area. We looked at the comprehensive master plan, and we really feel like that this is a acceptable use for this area. And I really think that we've made, as a Planning Commission and a City Council last time, a good decision. I guess that's all I wanted to say.
Any other?
In the past 2 weeks, I stated what I felt on April 15th, and I haven't wavered or changed my viewpoint in the period of time.
Any other comments by the council before I open it up to the audience? This time, we'll open up the floor to the audience. You can have up to 3 minutes to speak, and if you would, just come to one of the two lecterns and you can identify yourself and have the floor for 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
I'm Paul Bonner. I have I addressed you last meeting, and my feelings have not changed either, and I certainly respect people maintaining their thoughts. But since this area bounded east of Highway 111, generally north of Highway 70, was annexed, or shortly thereafter, we were designated RS-20. I've been very comfortable with that RS-20, and I feel that developments in that area have taken place consistent with the zoning of RS-20, and the residents are very pleased with the development that takes place in RS-20. I regret now that we come to a point where I have to fight to, or help fight to maintain that RS-20 zoning. For I feel that this development has taken place consistent with the RS-20 or low-density zoning. Why can't it continue? I have to also ask, is there no place for RS-20 development in this city? I wish I could quote, and I believe I heard Mr. Mills one time say, and correct me if I misstate it, and I'm generalizing when I say it, is the city cannot continue to develop as RS-20. We're going to run out of space. It's not practical to continue developing as RS-20. But that brings me back to my point. Why can't we develop as RS-20? If I believe in government of the people, by the people, for the people, and the people want it, then what's wrong with it developing as RS-20? I just fail to see the point. The people have made their voices clear on several occasions regarding this. One was when annexation took place and shortly thereafter in getting the RS-20 zoning. And with every one of the proceedings that's taken place with this proposed rezoning, the people have spoken. Their voices have been out there. I hope the people's voices have been heard. So with that, I simply say thank you for giving me the opportunity to express my feelings to you.
Thank you, Dr. Bonner. Any other comments? Any comments from the council? Seeing no further comments, all vote.
3 yes votes, 2 no. Motion carries.
And now we come to our consent agenda. There are 3 items. Item 4, set a date of June the 3rd for a public hearing on ordinance 100-503, closure and abandonment of a portion of Mill Drive located adjacent to 1498 West Broad Street and declaring the property as surplus. Item 5, consider awarding bids for the poly copper tubing, valves, meter boxes, etc., portable air compressor, and anthracite water quality control department. Need phonetic spelling next time on that one, right? Item 6, consider awarding bid for transformers electric department. Do we have a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
And we have our second. Any discussion or items that need to be pulled? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
And now to our new business portion. We have 2 items. Item 7, consider approval of purchase of roll and rack hose management system, sole source, fire department, sponsor Chief John Kendrick.
Evening, Mayor and Council. What I have before you tonight is a hose management system that is a sole source item that I would recommend your approval. It does allow better use of manpower following fire scenes and deployment of fire hose and has potential to eliminate several types of injuries.
All right, thank you, Chief. Do we have a motion and second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have our motion and second. Any discussion by the council?
Does this mount on each truck?
No, it's actually portable. We don't intend on carrying it on a truck. We'll have somebody bring it to us following a fire scene when we deploy large amounts of hose. And it's a mechanical device that actually rolls the hose, drains the water, drains the air out of it, and leaves it on a roller system that you take it back to the truck, and then you actually pull it back up on the truck, so nobody's picking up 125 pounds of hose, need to drag hoses out and walk hoses and get the air and water out by hand. This takes care of all that. And typically this happens following the fire when everybody's used all their extra energy and effort and they're the tiredest, and that's why we're most prone for accidents afterwards.
So are these on spools that then stay on each individual truck, or then they roll off of that
Now,
back
once it
onto the
rolls
truck?
off, they'll lay it back into
Okay.
the hose bed for future deployment.
Okay, very good. Any other comments by the council? Any comments from the audience? Seeing no comments, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Let's see, item 8, consider approval of purchase of cork tubes, sole source, water quality control department, sponsor Mr. Ronnie Kelly.
Mayor and council, we've had 2 torque tubes, devices that transfer oxygen and mix the wastewater to our treatment plant. The wastewater treatment plant failed. Each ditch contains 6 tubes for a total of 24 total tubes at the facility. This is the 9th and 10th tube on the original side of the plant to fail. Leaves us 2 remaining tubes that we'll have to replace at some point. We've looked at the past, trying to repair them. Experience across the country when they've tried to do this, it failed. So we've always just bought the new tubes. We had in the expansion project in '98, we were going to replace them all at that point. We decided to let them run get their whole full useful life out of them, and then we would just take them out and replace them as they broke. And so we've got a lot of extended years out of them. We need to buy these from the manufacturer. They're $12,465 each. We need 2. We waited till the second one. We thought another one was going to break, so that way we can have a crane down at one time. Total of $24,930. and we'd recommend approval.
All right, do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
We have a-
Second.
Have a motion and second. So this 24,930, that also includes the crane bill and?
No, that's just the materials.
That's just the
We'll
materials.
get a contract with the crane company here locally and have them come down. We've done that in the past. We'll buy bearings separate and those type of things. This is just a tube.
Okay.
Would there be a cost advantage if we went ahead and maybe get a better price and buy the other two that you said will soon need to be?
Well, we don't know. It may be, some of them's lasted 12 years. You know, I'd rather just use them till they run, till they fail.
It's something that can be down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had one down for a pretty good while. We just turn it off, let it sit there. And
Okay.
Any further comments by the council? Any comments from the audience? Seeing no further comments, I'll vote.
Thank
5
you.
yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Let's see what we have here. Let's hold a public hearing on the 6-month progress report for plan of services for the Free Hill Road, North Washington Avenue annexation area, sponsor Mr. James Mills.
Mayor and council members, as you know, the state law requires that the city prepare and publish a progress report on the plan of services for annexation areas 6 months after they're annexed and annually thereafter until all services have been provided as specified. We're also required to hold a public hearing, which is what we're doing tonight. The Free Hill Road, North Washington Avenue area was annexed in 2009 with an effective date of October 17th, 2009. The progress report for this area has been prepared and was recently published in the Herald Citizen. The report indicates that police, fire, solid waste collection, street maintenance, street signs, planning and zoning, and recreational facilities are provided as specified. Those property owners already served by natural gas have had their rates reduced to the city rate. The plan of services specifies that natural gas service will be provided to the unserved areas based upon customer demand and when economically feasible. Water service rates have also been reduced to the inside service rate. The plan of service provides that any necessary improvements to the existing water system will be completed within 10 years after annexation. Sanitary sewer has not yet been extended to the area. The plan of services specifies that sewer will be extended within 25 years. Street lighting is currently being designed by the electric department. The plan of services specifies that such lighting will be provided within 1 year after annexation. And that is the report, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mills. Are there any comments from the audience? This is a public hearing on this plan of services.
Has there been any comments, negative or positive, since the annexation from residents that live in this area that?
We've not received any. I don't know if city manager's office has.
No, we have not.
Because there were some objections, in the beginning.
We've gotten no positive or negative comments.
No comments.
Okay.
All right, good deal. Seeing no more comments on that, we'll move on now to our hearing of citizens and/or delegations. Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Thank you.
Appreciate you presenting that. At this time, we open up our floor for up to 3 minutes. You can come and share your comments and concerns about the city of Cookeville and the activities here. And we did have a few extra seats open tonight, so please plan to attend in the future if you can. We do have some, it looks like we have some folks from the Boy Scouts. If you guys would like to come up and identify yourselves or be recognized, tell us why you're here, that'd be great. You can just come to that lectern right there. And what,
That's a-
I am Travis from Troop 196.
is this, are you earning
on
a
a
merit
badge.
badge for, are you working on a badge? Good deal.
I'm working on my communication, their badge, and
Citizenship and.
Very good.
Thank you, Travis.
I'm Mitchell Williams, and I'm working on communications and citizenship.
Very good. Well, thank you for coming
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hang in there. I sit on the Eagle Scout Review Board, and stick with it if you can. That'll be a great thing for you to accomplish, getting that eagle. Chief Kendrick's on that board with me sometimes, too. We have a good time on there. See some fine young men. Any other comments from the audience? Anybody else?
I'd like to say, just remember the people of Nashville. I've been doing a lot of traveling to Nashville. There's a lot of a lot of families that their lives have dramatically changed in the last week, and I was able to see it firsthand this past week. And people have lost their homes, and some haven't been to work in a week, and so they could use all the help that we can give them, whether it's volunteering or a financial contribution or a case of water. You know, it's we're very thankful that the water didn't sit, or the rain didn't sit over our community as long as it did there, and was heartbreaking to see, and makes us realize what family and community and things that are important are. And so obviously, if we can help in any way, I'd like for us to reach out if we can. If there's something that we can do to help them as a community, it'd be great to do that. And so it was very, very good for us to see it. And so it's the scale you can't imagine on TV is much different than actually being there. And it just looks surreal on TV. And unfortunately, we've been seeing a lot of this in our communities across the nation. And so our hearts and our thoughts and prayers go out to the families there and those that have lost loved ones. And so, and in addition to that, I know we've, Abby and I have been trying to do a fundraiser for the park. This is our third year. We've set the date. It's the After Dark Race for the park. It's a series of events that we do to raise money for the downtown park. We're passionate about this park. It was one of her, my wife's father's passion was the park. And so we're donating our time and some of our resources, and some of the local community members here have as well. And so it's on August the 7th of this year. We're going to have an 8K road race. There's also, guys, great to have you to participate there and volunteer. There's also a 1 mile fun run for children that it's that night. You get a free T-shirt. Can't beat a free T-shirt. And we're also going to do a movie in the park on Friday night, the 6th. So it'll be free to the public. You come out. Local businesses are supporting it. And so we're really thankful for the opportunity to do that, and look forward to everyone's participation in that. You have to sign up to run in the race, though, by July the 23rd in order to get the free goodie bag. So
Very good.
Just to piggyback on what Ryan said about the flooding, I think sometimes we see all the pictures of Nashville and stuff, but there's communities even closer to us that were very much affected. I've been in Hartsville, Lafayette, and Carthage this week, and there was extensive flooding. Lots of people lost their homes, and quite a lot of devastation there. And they have not been declared a FEMA emergency counties, so those people in some instances may be even in more dire straits. And I know that there are needs for water and cleaning supplies and things like that at some of the relief centers in all three of those towns. So it might be another opportunity to help and serve in those areas.
On a lighter note, and I feel a little bad bringing it up, but people ought to drive by Dogwood Park, because we're starting to get it put in, and it's starting to look like the vision that we have for it. And I know that in a couple of weeks they're going to do a special Dogapalooza. Is that how you say that? Dogapalooza, where you can bring your dog to Dogwood Park, and they'll have all sorts of fun things going on then. So while we're enjoying all this wonderful, beautiful weather, which we hope stays, remember that there are a lot of people out there walking, riding their bikes, and keep an eye out for those who are not in their cars so they can enjoy that weather.
Very good.
Just a reminder, I think this was in the Herald Citizen, the STEM Center opening tomorrow at 1:30. Is that correct, Liz? I think it's 1:30.
I think it's 1:30.
And the public is invited. The STEM Center at Tennessee Tech on 7th Street. It's going to be an exciting venue for our citizens, especially young people, students across this region, I think. Isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be
And
good.
so the public's invited to that for tours, I think, through the building to see what they have. So if you have time tomorrow at 1:30, you might go out to 7th Street, and you can't miss it. It's right there by the guys' dorms, I think.
This is an integral part of what's going on in our community. Is one of the things they've determined that attracts possible employers is the education system, and this is just another way to facilitate that. And so we're thankful for that in our community. It's private money. So it's a great investment in our community and our kids.
It is. It's exciting. Looking forward to tomorrow. Any other comments by the council? Seeing no further comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Everybody unanimous on that?
It's almost like choir.